Welcome. We gather here today in the search of knowledge. To display foolish wisdom. And distill it. To steep it amidst our unique perspective of what we understand amidst the current moment. I'd like to welcome a few principles, shall we? Not too loose, not too tight. You see, we as a people as a species, as Homo sapiens, are self-correcting. You hear it all the time. All sorts of metaphors that point to the same kind of thing. Pendulum swings one way, eventually swings the other. Life is the result of dynamic opposites, form and chaos, and all the infinite variations, combinations in between. When the pendulum swings in favor of one, eventually it comes and swings in favor of its opposite, thus completing the cycle, the balance of the universe. I got that from Drew the Damager, who I originally picked up from some year of NBA 2K, playing on the blacktop, Xbox Live on the 360, or maybe it was the Xbox One, but it definitely came from NBA 2K. Can't stop the profit. Ignorance was at the library. I dip, do a backflip. My seventh sense senses danger. I turn around, there's anger. And he brought the mob along. It's the same old song. Okay, so this is me just throwing it into the digital matrix here. And before I do that, let me just appreciate the moment that I can speak right now. The energy is coursing through my body, through my vocal cords. This tone, this sound. To depict an experience that I had. To somehow put out there a data stream a cautionary tale to provoke an epiphany and whoever listens to this. And what that is, this is a cautionary tale. This is a, here's how I fucked up. Here's how I fell out of the pocket and got sacked. And I suppose I just want to paint the picture with metaphors and just various fun ways to tell the tale. But if you needed a TLDR, I'd say not too loose, not too tight. And this is a story of when it becomes too tight. You see, there's this thing that happens in my life where something will feel good. It'll feel great. It's fresh baked bread. And as time passes, it becomes stale. It becomes less of an enjoyable thing. That when it initially comes out of the oven and you let it do the proper cooling, and then you slice it and then you eat it, it's moist, it's warm, it's crispy, and all these other sorts of combining polarities will mesh into one experience, and it's a real exclamation point. It is ethereal. It is utterly perfect. And the thing about that is that it only will get worse from that point. Those sorts of things of perfection have a single peak. From that point in time, it's a decay, and it does not go any higher. Hey, I may or may not know what you're getting at, because I was the dude that experienced that, but just in case I'm listening to this years from now and I have absolutely no clue what happened to you, I'm curious, what did you experience that, what was your actual experience outside of you drawing parallels and metaphors and similes and stuff? Okay. I don't consciously go around, trying to figure out philosophies and methods to life that make it work, that make it feel good. But what I happen to do is when I encounter such philosophies, such methodologies that I just happen to be implementing into my life, imbuing my energy with, my intent with. If I can ever distill a sort of way of life and methodology to living, the art of living, into some kind of descriptive, linguistic, communicative kind of thing, this is the kind of person who I can be at times. And the English language happens to be one of my many mediums. I don't know, dude. I was, so what happened to me is, for me to get this out right now, I need to crack open my exterior. Whatever this little shell is right here, in my attempt to come out as clear as possible, as directly honed and focused and sharpened and as precise as possible. My desire to do that right now, I need to crack this sort of shell just to get the idea rolling, okay? At some point in my day, there's this kind of thing that goes on. It's like I will be living in whatever is natural, whatever feels most true on my face, in the way that I move my body. Everything is a sort of expression of your state of mind and your emotions and, the thoughts you're having in your head, whether you're aware of it or not. What'll happen to me is, it'll be very unconscious to me. I'll be very unaware of it. And it'll just feel, rather comfortable. Neutral and nice. Then what'll happen is, all of a sudden, I start thinking to myself, I get a little hyper-aware. I get a little really self-conscious about that, like, whoa, like Philosopher's Stone type of thing. I'm talking Juan Ponce de Leon. I'm talking, live forever juice. I'm thinking, oh shit, well, if, I'm pulling out the philosophy logics class, if your thoughts control your reality and so on and so forth, if that is the case, then and I'll try and make an application of something in such a way that negates all negative experiences. My attempts to negate all negative experiences. How can I just continuously hit all these, fucking peaks and peaks and peaks and peaks and peaks? What I've noticed on that particular journey, on that route, is, eventually, it's like you're wearing a flubber mask. It's like, not even a flubber mask, all right? It's as though you put on a face mask from like a spa day or whatever, and at first it's nice and it's soothing, and you're feeling joyous and kind of silly and giddy because I don't put on face masks, spa day, freaking green masks with the cucumber slices over the eyes. I don't do that very often. I think I might have done that one time in my life, and even as I'm recalling this, I don't know if that's a made-up memory of just my imagination. My mom playing tricks on me. Do 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 do. But I actually do remember putting on one of those face masks. And so the effect that putting this kind of face mask on for me with cucumber slices, it's such a rare occurrence that you just find this kind of joy in just the novelty of the experience and the activity itself. And it's this, yeah. So that's one aspect. The next aspect of that is that you almost mischaracterize like how that feeling and that emotion and the embodiment of that, the imbuement of that whole feeling, sensation, and all this, you attribute that to the face mask for some reason. And so instead of taking it off after, 30 minutes, an hour after your bath or whatever, when it's still supple, you leave it on your freaking face as if that was the source of that kind of peak experience or whatever. And what'll happen is the thing starts to dry on your face. And your face feels a little more Botoxical. You can kind of feel this thing cracking on your face. It's lost its moisture. And at this point, it's like, what the? There's like crusties, and it's not like the most dire. Oh, what the hell is happening to me? It's not burning. It's not the worst of the worst. But it's almost it's merely just you just get this little pebble in your shoe feeling. Like it's not the end of the world, but you also feel like there's something happening here. And you can almost feel like a rigidity growing in you, in your expression. You'll want to tend to stick to the positive, even though what you're actually experiencing in real time is not the quintessential positivity and brightness of experience. What I was experiencing in that moment was a kind of enduring, like digging. It wasn't like walking through air. It was more like digging through a ball pit. Like there's a slight resistance here. Swimming through water, slight resistance here. Digging through dirt, slight resistance here. It wasn't that Heisenberg 99.9 purity positive experience. It was, it was being cut with something else. And I wanted it to be positive. And what happened was my desire to utter it out to the universe as positivity echoed back to me. Ugh. And the return to sender feeling that I got was not completely positive. And it became a tale of similar to tell it how it is, tell it how it could be. What I have noticed is when I tell it like it is, it's pretty much always heaven, perfection, just utterly perfect, amazing, awesome experiences, even if it feels strange or bizarre. Because something funny about telling it like it is, blah 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 blah. Whenever you can have like a truthful, authentic sharing of the moment, an authentic, as true as you can describe it, or as accurately as you could possibly make something to how you feel it and interpret it, if you can reach that, and it's the most resonant thing with you, regardless of whatever that thing, with the ingredients of whatever that thing is, the truthfulness of it, the the essence of the dish will shine through. Okay, if you rub a little orange rind on there, that's gonna pull through. If it's got cinnamon in it, or some vanilla extract, vanilla paste, that's gonna shine through. Okay, you put banana in there, you're gonna taste the banana. But then when there's a telling of, the flip side, tell it how it could be, there's always just this little bit of, I don't even want to say artificiality added to it, but I'd just say that something is in the shade in that moment. You hit the freaking ball. You got a base hit. Maybe you even got a double or a triple. Or there was an error and you got an on the field, infield home run. But the feeling of it, you didn't hit it in the wheelhouse. Didn't hit the sweet spot. You might have hit it off the edge. You hit it at a weird point. And it just stung. It vibrated and stung weird. I think that's what I'm getting at. And so, do I have advice? If life is a mere constant course correction, who's to say that I have advice that is worth anything? And then also, I heard this before, unsolicited advice is unsolicited. No one's asking for this. I'm just giving this to nobody. Maybe that's not true. For as stubbornly independent as I like to be in my own sorts of ways of thinking, like no one's gonna help you but you, or it's like, how are you gonna listen to somebody else's ratio, and how are you gonna, why don't you develop your own recipe? Why don't you make your own whole entire tarot card deck representation? Why don't you make a character for each of those instead of looking at the other decks? You know, why don't you personalize it and make it entirely unique to you and for you? You know, your life for you, and no cookie cutter cookies. All handcrafted, artisan. I feel as though I fall predominantly in this. But there also have been times where I wanted to merely listen to whatever it is that I had to say about whatever it is I was saying at the time. And so for that guy, who might be feeling a plethora of ways that I don't care to get into right now because it's not the direction in which I would like to proceed, because I'd actually like to get out of here right now. I'd actually like to wrap this up, per se, instead of going, further into the Alice in Wonderland hole that would be. That would generate. Do I have any advice? Like a final statement, I suppose. Because truthfully, I really do feel like if there were any sorts of helpful bits in this, they already would have been said or perceived. Right? You don't need to. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You can look at a blade of grass. You could stand under a tree and simply look out at a river and be the happiest that a human being could ever be. Or you can be on a yacht, middle of a buffet with your entire family, Golden Corral style, all the stuff, the fixins, and, there's Latin music going on, and all these sorts of external things that tell you, hey, you should be happy, but you can not be. You can just not be happy. You could not be. You could be actively suffering. And what actively suffering is, you do not find how you're feeling and looking out at the world as perceivable, as favorable, desirable, as a way you'd want to look out at the world. So this gets me back into, real quick, the kind of problem that I was facing recently. And it was one where my problem was that I kind of fell into this divot in the field of becoming more artificially positive as opposed to being like authentically expressive of what my most natural responses to life would be. And it was really just a big case of me getting in my own way. Like, for example, if there was ever anyone out there in the world who was trying to describe to you in word form, in bullet-pointed form, how to do any sort of operation, a PEMDAS to doing things in your life, and giving you a PEMDAS broken down model to things that you already do in your life. Here's how you open a door. Step 1, go in front of the door. Step 2, reach out your hand. Step 3, grab handle. Step 4. Rotate handle with a firmly grasped fist. With a closed grasp. Step whatever. Pursue forward. Push forward. Move your body forward. And it's like, it's all this complexity to something that you already know how to do, and it becomes redundant is not the word, I don't think. Nuisance is more the word, but still not it. Just unnecessary. Thanks for the time. This was yeah. This was cool. I like this. I hope you like this too. I'm gonna go continue on with my day. Thank you.